And going back to the AP's reporting, a senior U.S. intelligence official saying Russian missiles crossed into NATO member Poland, killing 2 people. We just outlined that the Polish government, according to a spokesperson, is holding emergency meetings due to this situation. Joining us on the phone line now, Bloomberg Television's European correspondent Maria Tadeo, who is also just getting these headlines right now as well. Maria, what more can you tell us about how things might play out from here?
Look, I think what we need to do now is focus on the Polish government and the findings that they come up with. This was always the risk with the war in Ukraine, that it could spill over into a member of NATO and that it could spill over into a member of the European Union. Of course, we know that Poland is both. On top of that, and to make things more complicated here, is the very difficult diplomatic relationship that Poland and the Russian Federation have at this point. Poland is a country that is openly supporter of Ukraine, and they have a very complicated historical context too, going back to the end of the Second World War, the Iron Curtain, of course, the post-Soviet Union order. For the Polish right now, this is a very emotional subject. The Polish population is 100% all in their support of Ukraine, and the government of Prime Minister Morawiecki is also very 100% in support of Ukraine. Remember, the fact that this is a NATO country, if indeed there was a missile strike, whether it was intentional or not, I think that's really the nuance now that fell on the Polish border, could really change the nature of the conflict and could be a real game changer. But at this point, I also want to be very careful with my words because, of course, as you know very well, if Poland decides they want to go to NATO and trigger Article 5, then that means essentially have 30 countries that should come together and support this country against Russia. So I do want to be very careful with my words on this because the impact and the scale of this would now be much bigger than anything we've seen until now.
Maria, we have about 45 seconds here. I want to ask you more about the cultural momentum that you actually really touched on there. Poland, far more sensitive to Russia than Ukraine, therefore has been allied. Of course, we know a lot of the refugees coming out from Ukraine have been on the Polish border. Can you talk to us a little bit about the history behind this? 45 seconds.
Look, I think it's very important to understand the historical context here and to understand the major tensions between Russia and Poland that are happening at this point. The Polish do resent, for many historical reasons, the Russian Federation under Vladimir Putin. I don't want to say the country, but definitely the Russian Federation under Vladimir Putin. And they are 100%, not just the government, but also the population, in favor of Ukraine here. They feel like this is something where there's no nuance. They have to stand with Ukraine, and they have done, as you mentioned, with the refugees, but not just that, also with weapons and also getting their own weapons. By the way, Poland has said this is their #1 priority, their defense.